Hey there. Today we're going to be reviewing chapters 3 and 4. We're going to kick this off with the core of a country's trade, that being imports and exports. Imports are items that are brought in from other countries. The United States has to import a large portion of materials. The process of selling goods and services to another country is called exporting. Countries all over the world use machinery, agricultural products, plastics, and many other things, all made in the United States. The difference between a country's total exports and total imports is called balance of trade. This is important because if a country imports more than it exports, it is in what is called a trade deficit, which is unfavorable. The opposite, a trade surplus, is favorable. Other forms of exchange also occur among nations. For example, a citizen may invest in a corporation in another country, or a government may give financial or military aid to another country. When a nation receives more money in a year than it pays, it is said to be in a positive position in what is called the balance of payments. There are many factors that affect trade in countries, but one of the most prominent is infrastructure. Infrastructure is defined as the basic physical and organizational structures and facilities needed for the operation of society or enterprise. Examples of this would be railroads, highways, communication systems, and utility systems. Governments can create trade barriers which restrict the ability to trade freely. This is called formal trade barriers. There are also informal trade barriers, such as culture, traditions, and religion, could all affect trade. Some of the formal trade barriers include quotas, tariffs, and embargoes. A quota is used to regulate international trade by setting a limit on the quantity of a product that can be imported or exported in a given period. Countries can set quotas for many reasons, such as supply and demand protection of an industry, express displeasure. The next type of formal trade barrier are tariffs. A tariff is a tax the government places on certain imported products. For example, you want to buy an imported computer for $340, but the government has a tariff of 15%, which would be $51 plus shipping costs. That would bring you up to $391 plus shipping costs. The reason for a tariff is to encourage the consumer to buy domestically or from their own country at a lower price. Some people believe this strategy should be used to protect jobs from foreign competition. The third and final type of trade barrier is the embargo. An embargo is the action that a government takes to stop the import and export of a product. This may happen for multiple reasons, such as maximum protection of an industry from foreign competition. This is more effective than either the quota or tariff. Another is prevent production vital to national defense to be exported to unfriendly countries or to express disapproval of another country. Now to multinational companies, which are organizations that do business in several countries. These normally have a parent company in what they call a home country. Countries in which the MNC places their business is called the host country. These companies all have benefits and drawbacks. Some of the benefits include having large amounts of goods, which are cheaper than those made domestically. Career opportunity expands as an MNC branches into other nations. Relationships are formed between other countries by understanding, communication, and respect among people in other nations. These business partners have to keep friendly relationships with each other for economic reasons. However, there are also drawbacks to these multinational companies, such as they are dependent on for jobs, consumers depend on them for goods and services, and in some cases, the MNC can even influence or control political power of a country. Social responsibility is defined as the duty of a business to contribute to the well-being of a community. Now, knowing this, a business must determine the interests and concerns from the perspective of multiple groups. This may include, but is not limited to, environmental protection, women in the workplace, physically challenged employees, and finally, a healthy and safe work environment. To elaborate on environmental protection, conservation is saving natural, non-renewable resources. Examples of a renewable resource would be gas, oil, or iron. These are resources that cannot be replaced when used. Now, moving on to the topic of business ethics. Ethics are defined as principles of morality or rules of conduct. Business ethics, however, are said to be the rules of how businesses and their employees should behave while in a workplace environment. A code of ethics is a set of rules for guiding the actions of employees and members of an organization. This is used to identify proper behavior for business ethics. When considering ethics of a business situation, follow these guidelines. 1. Was the action legal? 2. Does it violate professional or company standards? And 3. Who is affected by the action and how? Now, moving on to the different types of government protection activities. The first of these being a contract, which is an agreement to exchange goods or services for something of value, normally money. Some basics of a contract are for the offer to be made and accepted. All of these entering the contract must be of legal age and mentally competent. Something of measurable value must have been exchanged by both parties. And finally, no fraud or deception should exist in the agreement. Both consumers and businesses benefit from contracts that are government enforced. The reason for this is that if a contract is agreed upon, if one party doesn't hold up to their end of the deal, the government will force them to. Now to the protection of property. A patent is something that gives the inventor the sole right to make, use, or sell the item for 20 years. This is obtained when an individual or company creates a product. This would prevent other companies from making or selling a product. Next, we will talk about something similar, but instead of a product or process, it protects works of authors, composers, and artists. This is called a copyright. It lasts for the duration of the holder's life and extends 70 years after their death. Finally, we have a trademark. A trademark is a word, letter, or symbol linked with a specific company or product. These are very common, probably more so than you realize. For our final section, we move on to regulatory activities. The first of them being a public utility, which is an organization that supplies a service or product that is vital to all people. This may include telephone services, water, or electricity. Next, a monopoly, which is when a business has control of the market over a service or product. Monopolies can be good for consumers by guaranteeing they receive a service or product. They can also be harmful by providing products with low quality and high prices. And for our final topic, we have is antitrust laws. These are meant to promote competition and fairness while avoiding monopolies. The way this happens is by preventing false advertising, deceptive pricing, and misleading labeling. These things hurt competition and reduce consumer choice. Thank you.